Hi, I'm Andy Savage. Welcome to Man and His Meeple. Tonight I'm playing Root by Leader Games. First published in 2018, this highly asymmetrical war game has enjoyed accolades for its gameplay and artwork alike. It was designed by Carl Worley with artwork by Kyle Ferrin. Set in a forest, the game depicts the struggle for dominance between 1 to 6 players, each acting as a woodland faction. The overpowering spread of the Marquis de Cat, the infighting Eyrie, the Insurgent Alliance, and the Wandering Vagabond are neutral in the fight, helping everyone until they see their opportunity to rise to power is at hand. Thanks to a new release, the Clockwork expansion designed by Benjamin Schmaus, solo players are now able to square up against automated versions of the usual factions. You can take on the Mechanical Marquise, the Electric Eyrie, the Automated Alliance, and the Vagabot. This edition comes with plenty of customization options to make the game as hard as you can handle. In this playthrough, I'm playing the Woodland Alliance. I'm playing against the Cat, the Eyrie, and the Ranger Vagabot. I'm using the errata rules for the Eyrie as linked in the description below. This differs from the printed boards, so if you're not familiar with that, check it out to see what's changed. Please enjoy. Okay, so the way I've got it set up is that the Electric Eyrie will be number 1, Mechanical Marquise will be number 2, a Vagabot will be number 3, and I will be player 4, and we're going to play in that order, starting with the Electric Eyrie. Of course, I'm the Woodland Alliance. So, let's pull the first card for the Electric Eyrie, and it is a mouse card. They craft that for 1 victory point. And it slips up there. So then they recruit in every order. So first of all, they recruit in mouse clearing. They haven't got 1, and then they recruit 2 in the bird clearing. The only matching clearing is this one here. They then move from the matching clearing they rule with the most Eyrie, which is these guys, leaving just 2 there, to the nearest adjacent clearing with no roost, destination ties with the fewest enemy pieces, then the lowest priority. So they're going to move to the lowest priority, which will be this one here, number 11, and all 6 of these guys are going to go piling in up there, leaving 2 in the mouse clearing there, in the rabbit clearing. They're then going to battle in a matching clearing, so they're going to battle this lone cat in here. So that is 2 zeros, so no one gets hurt there. And then, so that was the mouse battle, and now a bird battle. They're going to battle in a matching clearing, which will be one with no roost. So there'll be a battle here again. Let's see if we can roll this here. So that's a 2 and a 0. So they're going to kill the cat and take no damage themselves. And then they're going to build, so they'll build a roost in there and score 1 victory point. Next up is the Marquise, and their order card is another mouse, nothing to craft there. So they will battle in every mouse clearing. There won't be one now because the only mouse clearing that they met anyone in was there, and that's now clear. They will then recruit 4 warriors evenly spread amongst mouse clearings. So there is 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, and there's 1 there, but they can't recruit there, so they go back to the highest priority, which is there. They then build in the clearing they rule with the most Marquise warriors, and they're building a recruiter, and that will be there. They then move all but 3 of their warriors from any clearing that has more than 3 warriors, which is none of them. They did build a building, so they don't expand. And then they score their victory points for the ordered building that they just built, which is 1. Then Vagabot's go. He's starting here in this forest here, and Birdsong, he reveals his order card, which is a fox with a root T, so he's taking the other teapot for 1 victory point. He's the grey one there. And so he's crafted a slip. If he has 2 or fewer undamaged items, move to a random adjacent forest. No, he's fine on undamaged items. So the fox order, the daylight actions, first is to explore. And the explore is to move to the nearest ruin, exhausting 1 item per move, then exhaust 1 item to take an item from that ruin. So exhaust 1 item, it doesn't matter which one in the solo, so he's going to slip to the nearest ruin. Now they're all adjacent, so we'll go for the highest priority because it doesn't state otherwise. And then 1 to uncover that ruin, which we'll put up there, and he takes that hammer. Again, it's irrelevant what it is. Now that's his 6th item, so he puts 1 item up there in the battle track, which means that he now scores 2 hits in a battle. And battle is what he's going to do next on the Fox Daylight actions. So, battle, move to the nearest clearing with any pieces of the enemy with the most victory points, which is the Eyrie. So he's going to spend 1 to move there. I think the tie break is the clearing where they have the most buildings and tokens, then the fewest warriors. So from there down to there. Exhaust 1 item for the move, and then 1 item for the battle. So he's scoring 2 hits, remember? That's a 1 and a 0. So he's hitting a maximum of 2 hits. So he's hitting 1 bird, for which he gets 1 point. Vagabond scores 1 point per warrior removed, as well as buildings. He will then exhaust 2 more and attempt to attack again. So the birds damage an item of his, which goes to there, and he kills that last bird for another point. Actually, he destroys this roost as well for an extra point, putting him on 4. So he's now exhausted all his items, and 1 of these is damaged, so that comes back out of there. He does his special, which is if he has 3 or more damaged items, slip into a random adjacent forest. And he doesn't. Now this is the Ranger's special action. If you have 3 or more damaged items, slip into a random adjacent forest. The Tinker will go through the discard pile and craft items, and I can't remember the name of the other one or what he does, but this is the advanced one, because in practice the Vagabot came last in these big multiplayer games. So I'm giving him a bit more of a fighting chance. So he's probably going to win now. So that was his special. He's not going to do it because he doesn't have enough undamaged items. So if he has any damaged items, refresh 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then repair that, and then discard that order card. I'm going to put the discards there. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, my go then. I have 3 supporters. A rabbit, a mouse, and a bird. So I'm going to spread sympathy. Now, I can spread sympathy. I can't revolt because I don't have any sympathetic clearings. Oops. So I'm simply just going to place one each of these in a rabbit, a mouse and a fox clearing. And I think I'm going to go for these 3 in the middle. So we'll start off with a mouse in there. And then we'll spread sympathy to that fox clearing with the bird card. And then we'll spread sympathy up there to that rabbit clearing with the rabbit card. Should have really have looked at the cards in my hand, but I didn't. So moving into daylight, we can craft using sympathy. Is there anything we would like to craft? We can craft the foxes in battle. May discard this to ignore all rolled hits taken. That's a kind of funny thing with the Alliance. You sometimes don't want to ignore the hits, although it's nice not to lose your buildings, your bases. Maybe a good idea to have one of those crafted. Let's craft one of those anyway. We'll probably forget about it every turn. So this is going to be my crafted cards there. I think if we put the bird and the rabbit back into the, use the mobilize action to put those back in the supporters stack, then that gives us potential to revolt in the rabbit clearing. But now I'm thinking if I put the 2 birds in there, I can revolt in any clearing. Let's put the rabbit in as well then. There's not much point holding on to these. So I can't do any, move on to the evening. I can't do any military operations because I don't have any officers here. They only come through revolts and training, and you need a base to train, which means you need to have revolted anyway. So I'm just going to draw. Oh, actually, I get 2 victory points for those, for my bases that I built, and then I'm just going to draw 1 card back up, and I'm going to keep my hand down here. So for next turn, the card in my hand is a fox card, and I can potentially craft that anvil. So that was my go. Back up to the Eyrie. Their order card is a fox card. They cannot craft that. So that tucks into there. And then they recruit in fox clearing. They can't recruit in a fox clearing, so they don't have a roost there. They can then recruit in a mouse clearing, because they do have a roost there. And then 2 more in the mouse clearing for the bird track. Then they move from the matching clearing with the most Eyrie warriors, which is clearly this one. For the mouse, they can't move on from the fox card for the fox track because they don't have any warriors in a fox base, in a fox clearing. So into the mouse, they're going to move from here, leaving 1 because there's 1 mouse card there, and that is more than enough for control. And they're going to move to an adjacent clearing with no roost. Destination ties such a clearing with the fewest enemy pieces, then the lowest priority. So adjacent clearings, this one has 1 piece, this one has 1 piece, this one has 2 pieces, so the nearest adjacent clearing of the lowest priority is that one. So that was for the mouse, and now to the birds, which matches anything. They're back to this one again, and all but 2 of them are going to move to an adjacent clearing with the fewest enemy pieces of the lowest priority, which would be back to that one. Which looks a bit weird, but they have spread out to that clearing. Then they're going to battle in a matching clearing for the foxes. So that's there. They're going to battle the cats in that fox clearing. That's 1 hit each. So 1 cat going back, 1 bird going back. And then for the mouse, they're going to battle me here, battle my sympathy. The Woodland Alliance, in defense, because of guerrilla war, in battle as defender, you use the higher roll and the attacker uses the lower roll. So I get the 3 hits, but I've got nothing to hit with. So there's nothing, I've got nothing to hit with there. So that's no use. And then I think they're going to do exactly the same with the birds, because that's the only target left. These birds here, that's the only target left. And they will do an extra hit because that's the row, that's the track with the most cards in. So that's 0 and 0, but they're going to do an extra hit. So they will remove that sympathy. And because that triggers outrage, I get a card from the draw deck, which is another bird. So they've battled and now they build. Place a roost in the clearing you rule of the highest priority with no roost. That's the only eligible clearing there, and then they take 1 victory point. Onto the Marquise. Their order card is mice and they have nothing to craft. That one should be in the discard, and now here's their new one. So battle in each ordered clearing. So where are the cats going to battle? Nowhere. Their mice clearing are here, here, here they have no one, and here there's no one to battle. Recruit 4 warriors. So let's grab 4. They're going to put 1 in there, 1 in there, 1 in there, and then back to the highest priority for that one. Build, they're going to build another recruitment station there, and then move any clearing with more than, any ordered clearing with more than 3 cats, they're going to move. And where are they going to move to? The adjacent clearing with the most enemy pieces. So that one has 1 piece, this one has 2 pieces, so they're going to move to there. Expand does not trigger because they placed a building. They then score 2 victory points for the recruitment, for the recruiter they built, and then they discard the order card. Back to the Vagabot. His ordered card is a rabbit, and he cannot craft the root tea because it's already been crafted. So what's he going to do as a rabbit? The first thing he's going to do is battle. So he's going to move to the nearest clearing with the player with the most points. Now the Eyrie and the Marquise are tied for the most points at the moment. And I can't find a rule that suggests what to do, so I'm just going to go 0 and 1 on the dice is the Marquise, and 2 and 3 on the dice is the birds. That's a 1, so he's going to attack the Marquise. So still not clear, is it? The nearest clearing with any pieces of the enemy with the most victory points. And the target defender is in multiple clearings. Move to the clearing where they have the most buildings and tokens, then fewest warriors. So that has the fewest warriors, so they're going to move there. And that's 0 and 0 again. So nothing happens there. Right, so he exhausts 1 of those for the move, and then 1 for the first fight, and then 2 for a subsequent battle. So he continues to battle the cats there. I managed to roll them on screen for the first time. Okay, now he has 6 undamaged pieces, so he's going to have 2 hits on the cats, removing both those cats for 2 victory points. And the cats are doing 2 hits back. So that's 1, 2. That comes back out of there. And he moves into the evening. If you have any damaged items, refresh only 4. Then repair 1. Actually, we didn't finish. Bit overexcited there. We didn't finish the rabbit actions. So he then repairs. We can't because he'd need an unexhausted item to repair. But does he do his special? No, because he doesn't have 3 or more damaged items. So as you were, into the evening, he refreshes those 4. He repairs 1 and then discards the order card. My go then. Right, so I must remember my hand is this fox card and my supporters here. Now I can revolt in both the rabbit clearing and the fox clearing. It doesn't really get us much. It's kind of nice to revolt in a clearing that actually gets rid of some buildings. And to have a bit of extra sympathy. And I'm considering whether not revolting right now, just trying to spread some sympathy instead. If we spend 1 bird to get sympathy back into that mouse clearing, then we can spend 2 birds to revolt in that mouse clearing, which is better because we'll kill all the Eyrie and destroy one of their roosts. It feels rotten, doesn't it? But let's do it. Okay, so we're revolting here. So remove all enemy pieces. So I get a point for the roost, which puts us all level pegging on 3 points. And destroy all these birds. Place a matching base. So this is the mouse base. And warriors there equal to total number of matching sympathetic clearings, which is just 1. And then 1 officer in the officer's box. I'm going to stand up like that because I like to lay them down when I've used them. Can't do any of that. Scrub that. Because you have to revolt first and then spread sympathy. Right. So put this all back. Luckily I put them in a different pile. Victory points back down. And 3 birds back into my supporters. Okay, right, rethink time. I do think we're going to need a base. So let's go for the rabbit base. So instead of doing the, we're actually going to revolt here, rather pointlessly, removing just 1 cat. We place 1 warrior and 1 officer. Oh, we'll leave that officer there. Okay, so we don't get any victory points because we didn't destroy any buildings. Into daylight, we can craft using sympathy. We could craft this anvil, which means the Vagabot might aid us, but then we're just giving him items. And I think he's going to get enough off the other players. I'm not that fussed about crafting these items. In which case, we can't train with it. We could mobilise. So we'll just add that to our supporters, I think. Now we have an officer, so moving into the evening, we can recruit at a base. You really need 2 or 3 officers to really get things moving along. But I don't think it's going to hurt right now to recruit another warrior there. Which means that's the end of my go, and I draw 2 cards now. So I have an ambush and brutal tactics. 2 bird cards though. Lots of birds coming out early on. I should have spread sympathy with the other bird card. Too late now. Back to the Eyrie. They've got a bird card, which they add to that track. And then they start recruiting in a fox clearing where they have a roost, which is right there. Then they recruit in a mouse clearing. And then they're going to recruit 3 this time in a matching clearing with the most enemy pieces and then fewest Eyrie warriors. So that's going to be there. Now onto the move. Move from the fox base, leaving just 1 bird there. And they're going to move to an adjacent clearing with no roost. Clearing with the fewest enemy pieces, then the lowest priority. This is the adjacent clearing with the fewest enemy pieces and no roost. 1, 2, 3, 4, leaving 1 there because they have 1 fox card there. Onto the mouse clearing. I think they're going to do quite similarly. They're all going to move out of here. And they're going to go there as well. But I'm not going to wait too long. I'm not going to unstack all these because I think they're going to move out again because of the bird track. So move to an adjacent clearing with no roost. Now this is the only adjacent clearing with no roost, so all but 3 of them are coming over here where these cats are. Clearing number 7. Now onto battles. So they would battle in the fox clearing where they're going to battle the vagabond, which I'm quite pleased about. He's only doing 1 hit there max. So that's a 2 and a 0, and they're battling the vagabond here. So they've damaged 1 of the vagabond's items. Vagabond does nothing in response. Onto the mouse clearing, they're going to battle the cats here. So potential for 3 on 3. It's 3 on 2. So they kill all 3 of the cats and lose 2 birds themselves. And then battle for the bird clearing, which will be back to this one again. So they're battling the vagabond once more, and they've got a maximum of 1 hit, but 1 extra hit because there are more cards in this row. So that's 2 on 0. They will therefore do 3 hits to the... No, 2 hits. Because there's only 1 warrior here. 2 hits to the vagabond and none back. Then they will build. They're going to build this roost, and I think, oh, hang on, there's 2 places they can build a roost. Highest priority with no roost, so 3 is the highest priority. So there they build, and then they get 2 victory points. And that's the end of their go. On to the Marquise. And their card is a fox order, and they cannot craft it. So, foxes battle in each fox clearing. Nothing to do there. Again, it's battling against my sympathy down here. That's 0. Oh, they do not destroy the sympathy. And then they recruit 4 warriors in fox clearing. So 1 there, not there, there, and 1 back there in there with their keep. Then they're going to build a clearing. They're going to build a sawmill in the clearing with the most warriors. Possible. So that's going to be number 9 there. And then they're going to move. This is the only guy that's going to move. And where does he move to? The adjacent clearing with the most enemy pieces, which is of course is mine. They did do a building so they don't expand, and then they score 1 victory point for the sawmill. And I'm getting left behind here. Onto the Vagabot. His order card is a rabbit, and he can craft it, so he's going to take the Smuggler's Trail bag for 1 victory point. If you have 2 or fewer undamaged items, move to a random adjacent forest, which he does not have. Okay, so the rabbit's daylight actions are to, first of all, battle. Now, I certainly don't have the most victory points, so it's not going to be me. It is the Eyrie, and he's in a clearing with the Eyrie, so he's not going to move. He's just going to exhaust that and battle that lone bird with his keep. And he destroys the bird for a victory point. And then he tries again. He exhausts those 2 items to try again at the roost, not a keep. And he destroys that roost for another victory point. And that is all the actions he can do. So the next thing would be repair, which he can't do, and the Ranger's special. If you have 3 or more damaged items, slip into a random adjacent forest. So this is where he comes into his own. He's going to slip back into that forest. Then in the evening, he refreshes 4 undamaged items. If you're in a forest, repair all items. So, and 1 of those goes up there because he has 6 items again. Okay, on to me. We have sympathy remaining in the rabbit and the foxes. Still no buildings to blow up in the fox clearing. But I think maybe we should do it anyway. I'm going to spend the fox and the bird to revolt here. Killing those 2 cats. There is only 1 matching clearing, and that's the one we're in. So we put 1 warrior out and 1 officer. And then we can spread sympathy. We can use this bird card to spread sympathy into the mouse clearing. Right, into daylight. We can craft using sympathy. We have nothing we can craft. Now we can train, which means we can spend cards matching built bases to move, to place warriors into the officer's box. And I think I'm going to spend both of those bird cards to do that, because this is where the points come in for the Woodland Alliance. Because this is where we can spread sympathy cheaply. So, let's spend one to recruit there, and then another to move one to there. No, we're going to move two to there. And we're going to spend a third officer to move one down to there. And then we're going to spend the last officer to remove him and place a sympathy token there, which gets us another victory point. And we should have got the one we got in Birdsong. So 2 victory points for us. Now that's all we've got to do there. So we draw 3 cards, 2 3 rabbits with some craftable stuff going on there, so that if we have any sympathy left, although we don't have any rabbits in, we don't have sympathy in 2 rabbit clearings, so we can't actually craft any of that yet. Anyway, that's our hand for the next go. Stand those officers back up, and we're back up to the Eyrie again. Okay, I'm going to remove that card from the table. That should be in the discard pile. Back up to the Eyrie. They've got another mouse with no craftable items. It just slots up there. So, recruiting. Do they have a roost in a fox clearing? No, they don't. Then they were going to recruit 2 more there for the 2 mice. And then for the birds, they're going to recruit in the most suitable clearing, which will be the one with the most enemy pieces, then the fewest Eyrie warriors, which again, that guy's in the forest, not in that clearing. Okay, so that's recruitment. Move from the matching clearing you rule. They don't have anyone in a fox clearing. Move from a mouse clearing. A matching clearing you rule with the most Eyrie warriors. So they've got 6 here and 6 there. So which one allows them to move to the clearing with the fewest enemy pieces and no roost? Well, there's no roost there and there's 1 enemy piece. Too many enemies, too many enemies. So I'm going to say this lot are going to move into that clearing for the mouse move. And then for the bird move, the clearing with the most in is here, and the adjacent clearing with no roost and the fewest enemies is there, and they're going to leave 3 behind, so they're spreading out nicely this turn. Then they're going to battle in a fox clearing. First fox clearing is now here, so it's 3 birds against 2 cats. So the 2 cats are gone and 1 bird is gone. Let's move these giant dice. No points scored, but they have cleared out that clearing nicely. Then into the mouse clearing. Now the mouse clearing where they're going to battle is here against my sympathy. Remember, I take the highest dice, but it's 3 on 3. So we're going to lose that sympathy, for which I get an outrage card, which is a card in my supporters. That was a mouse, and then in the birds, they're going to battle in the matching clearing. The defender is the player with the most buildings. They're not in a clearing with anyone with any buildings. Chain clearing ties, battle in such clearing with no roost, then the most defenseless buildings, then the lowest priority. I think, well, the only place they can battle that remains is here, 6 against my warrior. So that's 3 for me and 1 for them. So they are going to kill my warrior. In fact, I think I should have got some more sympathy when they moved in there. So I'm going to take another card, another outrage card for when those warriors moved in. Anyway, they've killed that guy, killed my warrior, and I've killed one of theirs. So that was their battle. And then they're going to build in the clearing they control of the highest, clearing they rule of the highest priority, which could be 6, 7 or 8. So it's obviously going to be 6, and then they're going to score 2 victory points. And that's that. Looks like the Eyrie could be the challenge here, the way they're spreading out. Although we've all seen them run out of steam after a while, haven't we? When they're unable to build. So, on to the Vagabot. Reveal the order card first. It's a favour card, so they can't craft that, but it is the mouse order. So, they are in a forest already, where they repaired all their items. So the mouse track, the mouse action says first they're going to quest. This is the first time we've seen them quest. They exhaust 2 of those items, then gain the victory point for that quest, and then just draw a new quest. They don't pay any attention to what's on that card. It's purely points generation. Do they have to be in a clearing? Yes, move to the nearest clearing matching that quest. I missed that. So 1 move to get to that mouse clearing. Then the next thing they're going to do is aid. And this is another one we haven't seen. Target the player in your clearing with any items. That's me or the Marquise, and neither of us have any items. So I guess he doesn't do that because it doesn't say he moves. And so where are we? We're on, where's his order card? Here, mouse, quest, aid, battle. He's going to want to battle the Eyrie, but he's 2 spaces away. So all he's going to do is move to them and then stop. 1, 2. He has no items left to actually fight them with, and then he's going to attempt to repair, which he cannot do because he has no damaged items either. He has no exhausted items. So on to the evening. If you have any damaged items, refresh 4 of them. If you have no damaged items, refresh 6. So it's refreshing all those items. And then discard the order card. Right, back to me. Right, let's have a look at our supporters. Are not much use. We don't have a pair, so we cannot spread sympathy. We cannot revolt. So nothing to do in birdsong. Into daylight. I have 3 rabbit cards. We have a rabbit base built, so we could train some officers. Let's have a think. Yes, I think more officers is good because it's going to allow us to recruit, move and spread sympathy. And as we spread more sympathy, we get more and more points. If I had a bird, I would mobilize it, add it to the supporters stack so that we could finally get the mouse base out, but we don't. So, and I said we have nothing to craft, so discard that to train another officer. Do we want to do that over and over again? We want some warriors for recruiting and moving. We don't want too many officers. There's a balance to be had. But if we recruit 1 or 2, move them, battle and organize, 5, maybe 6 is good. Let's go for 6. Let's have another officer. So we're going to keep this card in our hand. Probably should actually, in case we're going to craft next daylight, I think I'm actually going to keep this one, the command warrant. Being able to start another battle at the start of daylight can sometimes be pretty useful for the Alliance. So I'm going to hold on to that one. Right, so into the evening. We need to get some of these sympathy tokens out. So let's recruit at a base. How many do we want to recruit? Move. Organize. That's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can recruit 2. And we've got 2 warriors, so that makes sense. And we want to kind of put a stop to the Eyrie. To be honest, everyone's a worry at the moment to us. If we can threaten a second decent mouse clearing and maybe run the odds of not getting cleared out of both of those, then we might be able to, we can't revolt anyway next turn, but can we hold on to 2 whole turns against the Marquise in one of their clearings? Let's find out. Right, so that's 2 recruits. Move. I'm going to move one of those up to there and move. I'm going to move the other one to there. No, we want to play this. Actually, if we put sympathy in every mouse clearing. Right, remove, organize that one for sympathy there for 1 victory point. And organize that one there for another sympathy, and that's 2 victory points. So we've spent all our officers now. We have sympathy in 3 mouse tokens and 3 mouse clearings. But unfortunately we don't have 2 mice or an extra bird in here in order to revolt next turn. But we might get an outrage deal. We might get an outrage card that is a bird or a mouse, so that could be all right. So that's the end of our turn. And back up to the Eyrie. Their order card is a rabbit with nothing to craft. So that fills their final track there. So recruit with a fox. So recruit there. Recruit 2 in a mouse clearing with a roost there. one in the rabbit clearing, and the last 3 would go, it's a clearing with the most enemy pieces. So there's 2 enemy pieces there, none. So they will recruit their 3 with the birds there. Move from the matching clearing you rule. Okay, so with the most Eyrie warriors, so they're going to move from here to a clearing with an adjacent clearing with no roosts. So they're going to go up to there. That's the fox, leaving 1 behind. Mouse. It's going to be here, and they're going to come down to here, which is the only adjacent clearing with no roost, leaving 2 behind because there's 2 mouse cards. Then rabbits. One of these is, actually 3 of them are going to move to there. And then the birds, the clearing with the most is here. Matching clearing you rule with the most birds is here, and they're going to go to the adjacent clearing with no roost there. Then they're going to battle. So battle in the fox clearing here. And who are they going to battle? Defender is the player with the most buildings. That's me. Oh, I'm the only person there anyway. Okay, so let's see what we roll. 1 each. So I kill a bird, they kill, hang on. They moved into here where my sympathy is, so I get an outrage card. Then they killed my warrior, so I get another outrage card. So that was the fox. Then the mouse clearing. Clearing with no roost, then the most defenseless buildings, and then the lowest priority. So it's got to be this mouse clearing here. They're going to battle those cats. So that's 2, 3. So they kill 3 cats and they take 2 in return. And then onto the rabbit clearing. I don't think they have a fight in a rabbit clearing. And then the bird clearing. The most defenseless buildings, it's got to be back here in 12, I think. Oh, actually, there's 2 defenseless buildings there. So it's 2. Yep. So 3, 0, they destroy that. Gets a victory point for destroying a building. And then you're going to build a roost in the clearing you rule of the highest priority, which is going to be there because they rule when they equal the number, rather, what's that called? Lords of the Forest. They rule where they tie for presence. So they're built, then they get 3 victory points. 1, 2, 3, moving them into the lead. Down to the Marquise, their order card is a rabbit, which they can't craft. So battle in the rabbit clearings. Battle in each ordered clearing. So they are there, 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 and there. This is the only one where they have a battle against me. And I get the highest dice, which is the 2. So we take out the cat. Then they recruit 4 warriors in rabbit clearings where they rule. So 1 there, and back and forth again, 2 in each. Then they're going to build a workshop in the clearing you rule with the most Marquise warriors. They've all got 3 in, so we'll go for the highest priority, which is there. Move, there are no movements to be had because there are not more than 3 in any of these clearings. They do not expand, then they score 1 victory point. For the workshop, Marquise seems to be struggling a little bit, but that's fine by me. Vagabot. His order card is a bird. He has a craftable item, so he takes that sword for 1 victory point. Which you didn't see, 1 victory point. So the order for the birds is to explore. So he's already in a clearing with a ruin, so he's just going to take that. It's another sword. Now that's his 9th item. So 1 of these goes up there and he can now do a maximum of 3 hits. Then he's going to quest. So he's going to move to a fox clearing. It doesn't say which, so I'm going to assume highest priority. So 1 for the move, 2 for the quest. That's 1 victory point. And draw a new quest. Then he's going to aid anyone who's already there. Right, well the Eyrie have a card, an item, so they're going to exhaust that. Take that, and the Eyrie get a victory point. They would get a card, but the bots don't carry cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 2 more and they'll get their 12th item, which means they deal an extra hit. Battle. So they've done aid, now battle. They're going to battle whoever has the most victory points, and they're already in a clearing with them, so they're not going to move. I like this. They're going to flip 1 token to battle. So that's 3 and 0. So they're going to do, he's got 3 hits as well because he's got 9 items out, so he's going to move that and destroy the roost and get a victory point, which isn't so good, but you can't win them all. He's then going to spend 1 to move to the next clearing. Move to the clearing where they have the most buildings and tokens, and then fewest warriors. So he's going to move there, and then he's going to battle the Eyrie again. He moved no, he's not a warrior, he's a pawn. Never mind. So that's 2 and 0. So he's going to kill that bird and that roost. For another victory point, 2 victory points. I think he should have got another one actually for the first battle. But that's all his items exhausted now. So into the evening, he refreshes 6 of them. 3, 4, 5, 6, because nothing is damaged. And then discard the order card, which is there. Now it's my go. Right, we have some sympathy remaining. We have the supporters. We can do this. If we revolt here, we can destroy 2 of the Marquise buildings, getting us 2 victory points, killing 3 of the cats. If we revolt here, we destroy 1 of the Eyrie's roosts and 2 of the birds. If we revolt here, we destroy 1 of the Marquise recruiters, but we also hit the Vagabot. And when we hit the Vagabot, I'm going to need to look it up. I think it's 3 items. Taking hits. When a Vagabot takes hits, he damages exhausted items, or if he has no exhausted items, unexhausted items. That doesn't help. Full removal. When an enemy player uses an effect that says it removes all enemy pieces, he damages 3 items. So if we go here, we can damage 3 of the Vagabot's items as well. Slow him down a little bit. So I'm in favour of going here. So we remove all enemy pieces. So we'll remove that. That gives us 1 victory point. We're going to damage 3 of the Vagabot's items, including 1 that he could have used. Now he stays there. We put our last base out there. We put 3 warriors, and we would put an officer into the officer box, but we haven't got anyone spare. So now we have to pay for that with 2 mouse cards from our supporters. We can't spread sympathy with what's left, but that's okay. So into daylight, we have 1 rabbit card. We don't have 2 rabbit sympathy, so we can't craft that. We'd need 2 rabbit sympathy, and we haven't got that. But maybe we will by the end of this turn. Do I want to mobilize this card and put it into our supporters? I might do, just in case. So into the evening. No need to recruit. We've got no one to recruit. So let's spread these guys out a bit. Let's pay for 2 moves. 1 move, 2 moves. Organize. We'll remove him and place a sympathy token there for 2. And then we'll remove him and place a sympathy token there for 3. 1, 2, 3. And then I think we'll finish off a move to there and an organize, remove him, to place that there for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've just painted a massive target on our heads for the Vagabot, because he always attacks the player with the most victory points. So a good round for us. Starts to speed up towards for the Alliance there. Back to the Eyrie. Their order card is a bird, and they do have a craftable item, so they're going to take that and 1 victory point, and then slot this up into there. So a bit of recruiting for the birds. Where's a fox? Do they have a? They don't have a roost in a fox clearing. They only have 1 roost in a mouse clearing, 1 roost in a rabbit clearing, and then what's the tie? The most enemy pieces and the fewest Eyrie warriors. So that's there. Now these don't count as moves, so they don't trigger outrage, but I must try and remember those. Okay, move. So the fox move. From a matching clearing, you rule with the most Eyrie warriors, so that's here. To an adjacent clearing with no roost and the fewest enemy pieces. So no roost, fewest enemy pieces. It seems weird, but they're going back there. I'd love to know if that's wrong. Please put in the comments, because I can't find anything in the rules that suggests they don't do that, but it doesn't feel right to me. I mean, maybe it's like a patrol. They're just patrolling backwards and forwards through the forest. All right, so the mouse move. For a matching clearing, you rule with the most Eyrie warriors, and they're going to go to adjacent clearing with no roost, with the fewest enemy pieces. So back to there again, leaving 2 there. Then rabbit. They're going to march up to there. Now that is a move into a sympathetic clearing, so I get an outrage card for that. And then the birds, it's back to this one again. They're going to leave 4 there and march 2 of them back again. I guess it spreads them out nice and evenly. Then they're going to battle. So battle in a fox clearing, that's going to be against me there. Or is it going to be there? Clearing ties with no roost, then the most defenseless buildings, that's here. Then the lowest priority. Okay, so here. 2 to 0, so that's nothing because I get the highest dice. That's good for us. That was the fox. Then into the mouse clearing. It's got to be this one. Again, against my sympathy token. It's 1, 0. So nothing happens there. Rabbit clearing. Again here. Against my sympathy token. This is not unexpected, but the dice rolls are nice. Again, nothing happens. And then the birds, I think they're back up here because this is the defenseless buildings again. And again, 2-0. We've got away with it. That was an unlucky go for the birds. So they can build a roost in the clearing they rule with the highest priority with no roost. So 6, 7, 8. They're going to build there in clearing number 6. I don't think that triggers outrage. Onto the Marquise. They're going to craft the investments for 1 victory point, which they sorely need, and then follow the mouse track. Battle in each mouse clearing. Mouse clearings where they will battle will be here against my sympathy, which they will destroy, which triggers outrage. And then there are no other mouse clearings for them to battle in. Nope. So then they're going to recruit 4 cats, and I think they're all going into that same clearing. 3, 4. Then they're going to build a recruiting station where they have the most warriors. That's the only space they have to build. Then they're going to move. These are the guys that are going to move, and they're going to move to the adjacent clearing with the most enemy pieces, which is here. They did build, so they don't use the expand action. Then they score 1 victory point for the recruiter, and then they discard this order card. Up to the Vagabot, whose order card is also a mouse, and a crossbow to craft. So they got an extra victory point there. And where are we? Okay, mouse. So the first thing they're going to do is quest. So they're going to move to the fox clearing. Where are they at the moment? Here. So they spend 1 to move to that fox clearing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. And then 2 to craft. which gets them 1 victory point and a new quest. Aid, they're going to aid the Eyrie up there, so they will swap 1 item for 1 item, and the Eyrie get a victory point. That was aid, and then they're going to battle me. Now they're already in a clearing with me, so they're not going to move. He's going to destroy that sympathy, which gets me another outrage card. And I do nothing to him. He's going to keep coming after me. He's going to spend 1 to move. Now is he going to go to here or here? Move to the clearing where they have the most buildings and tokens. So I thought so. Okay, so there was a little bit of technical difficulty there, and I lost a bit of the stream. We just had the Vagabond move up to here to battle me here, and I think I'm just going to re-roll it. He's doing the mouse action, so he spends those 2 to battle me there. So it's a 1 and a 1. So he takes the sympathy, and we damage. We don't damage anything because we have no warriors there. Then into his evening phase, he refreshes 4 of these and then repairs 1. 10. And then it's onto Argos. We're discarding that. So now looking at our supporters here, we've got a lot. We've got another one because we have another one because of that removal. So we've got 3 rabbits here, 3 foxes and a bird. So we can spend some of this sympathy now. So let's spend 2 foxes to get sympathy into that clearing. Okay, so I've just noticed our victory points should have been back down there. Okay, so 2 fox supporters to spread sympathy into there, which I've just placed there, and that gets us 2 victory points. And I think 3 rabbit supporters to get us sympathy down to there, which gets us a further 1, 2, 3 victory points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now into our daylight. I don't want to craft any of this. I think we need to go straight into the evening unless we want to recruit any more officers. Let's see what we want. We can recruit, move, organize, and that will be 8 points, which should get us the win. So let's move straight into the evening. Exhausting officers to recruit twice. There and there. Move twice, there and there. Oh. No, because we can't move out of there because we don't control it. So our second recruit is going to be, well, right there. And then we don't even need to move the second one. Organise there for 4 victory points, and there organise that for 4 victory points for the win. So that was Root using the Clockwork expansion. Sorry for the loss of quality and pieces jumping around at the end there. As you saw, I won as the Alliance, and despite being 2 VP further ahead than I should have been, I finished with 2 VP in excess. I'm still not calling it a victory though, simply because of the move errors and the missed turn by the cats. There are very likely other mistakes I failed to spot. With no one around to watch what I'm doing and correct me at the time, it's sometimes very hard to notice these mistakes as they're going on. I love these new bots. They're pretty easy to run. Basing every action off the drawn card is a clever way of keeping the feel of the game without introducing an automa deck for each faction. Also, these bots don't feel too detached from the standard way of playing. The actions are streamlined, but the pace and style of the factions matches a multiplayer game very closely. Benjamin and Cole have done a really clever job here. Once you've learned the rules, the prompts on the faction boards are enough for reference, meaning you're not constantly referring to the rulebook. The Eyrie is probably the most complex, and the rules for their movement take some getting used to. The errata for the birds is a vast improvement over the printed originals and well worth taking a look at. The automated opponents work well at all counts. I've enjoyed immensely games with 1, 2 and 3 opponents, and I've played as each of the factions myself. The only faction that doesn't work so far is the Riverfolk, dependent as they are on other players buying from them, and the bots don't have that facility. I've yet to learn the Underground Duchy and the Corvid conspiracy, so I don't yet know how they play. Like Nemo's War, this is another game that I'm planning on doing further playthroughs for, so if you have any favourite combinations of factions you want to see played, please add them in the comments. I'm also planning on doing an all-bot playthrough in the near future as requested on BoardGame Geek. So please remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and please also click through to BoardGame Geek and thumb the video on the forums there. You can also follow me on Twitter at @OneManMeeple and at AndyBeta. If you'd like to support One Man and His Meeple, please consider becoming a patron. There is a link to my Patreon below. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.